Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit up to $250. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back, all from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 9 at Pimlico on Black-Eyed Susan Friday is the very one. We're going 5 furlongs on the turf for fillies and mares. Let's take a look at this field. We're kicking off a 50-cent pick 5 with a 12% takeout rate. And Mike, the 3 Caravel seems to have a good amount of upside potential. Nice performance in her first start off the layoff in the license fee, and she's quick enough to find a spot without exactly going all out for the lead.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff, Dan. She has really good tactical speed. She's got an inside post. I suspect she's going to land in a pretty good spot here, no matter how the pace plays out. And on top of that, I'm not so sure that she didn't face a tougher field in the license fee than she's facing here.
And Timeform US agrees with your assessment concerning her tactical ability. We see Caravel, the number 3, up close to the pace, along with the 6 Queen of Shades, the 7 Can the Queen. But Caravel should be in prime position when the field turns for home. Now, the one epic idea, she might be outrun a bit in the early portion of this race. Although she's fresh, having not run since October, she is cutting way back in distance. Let's watch the Maryland Million Ladies, a race in which she just controlled it on the front end. It was a great ride by Trevor McCarthy, backing down this pace, sprinting home. She's run well sprinting in the past, just not sure a 67 buyer is going to do it here.
Yeah, I probably won't. She's going to have to run better than that. Luckily for her, she has faster races sprinting on the turf. Dan, I feel like she kind of just stole this race. Maybe everybody just figured she doesn't want to go this far. Let her go as slow as she wants on the lead. And because she's a good horse, she made that field pay the price. I actually don't mind her cutting back at all. And I felt like of all the bigger prices on the morning line for this race, she was the most interesting one. I'm using this horse.
Go Shoes, the number 2, another horse that could be accused of theft. Let's watch her last race in Allowance at Aqueduct, going 3/4 of a mile. She made the lead, and she made it rather easily. She was able to relax as a 10-1 shot, and she sprints on home under Kendrick Carmouche. Nice start to her campaign.
Yeah, she ran well in here. Somehow got loose on the lead in this race, and nobody went after her. And she just never stopped in the stretch. It's a new top figure for her, Dan. She ran fine off the layoff. Just because she got such an easy trip in that race, it made me not want her back in this race as she steps up in class. But maybe she's just good right now.
Caravel is a multiple stakes winner on synthetic, but she's a proven commodity on the turf. In her most recent race, her first start of the year in the license fee was very good. She pushed the pace of a pretty solid horse, Jakarta, Mike. And as we turn into the stretch, Caravel has tucked Jakarta into bed. She makes the lead, but she's going to pay the price for her early endeavor. She's going to run an okay third, and from a speed figure standpoint, she is right in the mix.
Yeah, I thought she ran fine in this race, considering the layoff and that she got hooked up on the lead with a pretty talented horse. The winner of this race, she's my type, just a little bit too good. Got a perfect trip, and it was just too much for this field. I thought all in all, this was a good performance from Caravel. The first time she ever was defeated sprinting in her career, Dan, but she lost nothing in defeat in my eyes.
Connection's taking a shot with the 4, Bath and Tennis. She is a turf sprinter. She is more a starter optional type. This is going to be her second start of the form cycle. She has more speed than she's shown in her last couple of races, but she's up against it from a class standpoint here.
It just feels like a tough spot. We'll see if they can find some of that speed that she used to have and maybe be a pace factor in here, Dan. I thought she was hard to make a case for.
Victory Kingdom, the number 5, graded stakes placed on the Tapeta surface at Woodbine. She ran on turf in her one and only start this year. Let's go all the way back to New Year's Day in the Abuntia Stakes at Gulfstream Park. She's down on the inside here. She felt kind of far behind early. They just ran away from her in the early portion of the race, but she is going to make a strong late run, get up for second. A good performance for Victory Kingdom. She's the kind of mare that I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up with a good effort fresh.
Yeah, that's how I kind of looked at it too. To be honest, Dan, I didn't really know what to do with her. I feel like they found a good spot for her here. She got shuffled a little bit in that race that we just watched early on, and she finished okay. I thought overall maybe the trip was fine. If nothing else, I just feel like she's better on the turf. I know she ran a fast race on synthetic last year at Woodbine. I didn't really like her synthetic races as much. She had no finish in those races. I felt like she finished better on the grass last time.
Queen of Shades exits a race that's kind of key for handicapping this race. It was at Keeneland on April the 18th, and while Queen of Shades finished behind a couple of others in here, she did a lot of the dirty work on the lead, and she might just have burned herself out. It doesn't seem like she'll have to work as hard to get the lead this time out, and while she might not set a rated pace as she did when Wieringham 3 starts back, she might have an easier time of it at a price.
Yeah, she might. And I just sort of wonder, as much as I felt like I couldn't talk myself into this horse, I wonder if just cutting back to the flat 5 is really going to make a difference for her. I mean, she came up completely empty at the 8th pole last time. But all 3 of her career wins have come going the flat 5 furlongs. I think this is a better distance for her. I think she'll run better than she did last time. I still couldn't talk myself into her.
Seems like a tough spot for Longshot the 7, Can the Queen, making her first start since mid-October. Her most recent turf race, I think, could be thrown out. That was a race in which the pace completely fell apart, and she was chasing it. Prior to that, she ran some solid races on the turf, but like Bath and Tennis, she seems a cut or two below these.
She's a little bit slow right now, and she's already a 5-year-old, so I don't know how much more improvement we can expect, Dan, but maybe she just needed needs a race off the layoff here. Maybe she can take a step forward. All 3 of her wins so far, wire to wire. I don't know if she can make the lead in yet.
Another horse stepping up in class, but one that is sharp is the 8 Buffs in Love, who wheels back on less than 2 weeks rest after receiving a really nice trip and ride under young Charlie Marquez to win a starter optional earlier this meet. She'll have to do better, but she's in good form.
Yeah, they're going to step her up, I guess, at the right time off of one of the better efforts of her career last time. We'll see if she can keep it going.
Catch a Bid, I believe, sold for about $180,000 at public auction in November. She was a stakes winner going the mile for Chad Brown, and I wonder if she's finally found her niche as a turf sprinter, Mike. Last time Joe Sharp turned her back for the first time in her career, she got a nice pace set up. She did get a pretty good trip saving ground, and I thought she had it won at the 16th pole, only to be overhauled late by Dixie and Candyland.
Yeah, it certainly looked like she had it won, Dan. She got overall a really good trip from Saez in there. He saved all the ground. He got through on the rail. She had the lead in deep stretch, and she just got out finished at the end. At least it showed that she can sprint, I guess. That was the first time they ever tried it. I liked this horse when Chad had her. I guess you could argue that she never really panned out. Her career debut remains one of the best races that she's ever run, but she did show that she can sprint last time.
Dendrobia the 10 always has a puncher's chance from the back of the pack if the pace is electric, and they ran her against the boys in the Leatherberry in her first start of the year, and she was in against 2 of the better turf sprinters in the Mid-Atlantic region. Completed pass, Francatelli. She passed a couple of tired ones in the stretch. She'll be running late. I'm just not sure she's the best closer in this field.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. She's going to be a price in this race, though, if you like her, and if you think she's going to get the right setup in this spot, and maybe she will. There's plenty of speed in this field, Dan. I didn't love her, but she's going to be a big price, so I'm not going to knock her.
Dixie and Candyland got it done last time out in that aforementioned Keeneland race with Catch a Bid. Let's watch it right now. Catch a Bid down towards the inside is going to get a seam. She's in the blue and white silks. On the outside, in the red cap, is Dixie and Candyland. Here comes Catch a Bid to get the jump on Dixie and Candyland, but let's give Dixie and Candyland credit. She carried a little bit more ground than this horse, and she got it done.
Yeah, she was very game to win that race. That was also Queen of Shades there on the lead there at the 8th pole. You saw just stop and finish last. I don't know, Dan. Ultimately, I didn't know what to do with these horses and decided to be against all 3 of them in this race. Dixie and Candyland ran fine last time, and she's got back races too that make her a really big player in here. I just don't love that Keeneland race that we just watched, so I'm going to go with other horses.
Not a great post position, but you could do worse at a price than the 12 Gotta Go Mo for John Kimmel and Jose Ortiz. All she's done is win her last 3, and you could argue she still has a little bit of upside. Let's watch Gotta Go Mo scoring at 3/4 of a mile at Aqueduct. She was able to get close to the pace. You see that she's the favorite in here, but she puts away a fairly strong challenge from Violent Point, and she really puts Violent Point away.
Yeah, Violent Point just can't stay with her the final 1/8 of a mile here and fades. Violent Point's not that good a horse, although she did come back to win her next start when she got loose on the lead. I don't know, Dan. This horse feels a lot like the other New York shipper, Go-Go Shoes. The pace was not fast in that race we just watched. This horse had a perfect trip, and I felt like took advantage a little bit, but she has a lot of upside too, so I can see her taking another step forward.
Top pick time for race number 9 at Pimlico on Black Eyed Susan Friday. Caravel's tactical speed, I think, gives her a major advantage over horses like Dixie and Candyland and Catch a Bid. 2 other horses that are going to take money in here. She'll get the jump on them turning into the stretch. And as you mentioned, Mike, she's got upside, she's got figures. There's lots to like.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are why I took her. And it's also a situation, Dan, where I just don't really like anybody else. I'm not so sure Caravel just isn't the best horse in the race. I'm going to take her on top. Victory Kingdom was sort of the other horse for me. I tried to talk myself into her. I ultimately failed, but I'm going to use her anyway.
I certainly want to use Caravel. Mike's mentioned them, all of her obvious merits. Catch a Bid's just interesting to me. Usually I don't like these kind of horses that had the good setup, good trip last time out. But I just wonder if maybe this is what she wants to do. Sprint on the turf. And I think she has one of the stronger kicks in this race. 9, 3, 11, 12 for me. 3, 5, 1, 9 for Mike. Race number 9, the very one at Pimlico. Good luck.